Hello dear film friends and welcome back to PÖFF TV. My name is Päike Triinu Tamm and we are right in the heart of Black Nights Film Festival 2024 to get to know our directors better. Today I have here in the studio with me a director from Lithuania, Laurynas Bareiša, who is gonna talk about his film Drowning Dry. So let's give him a warm welcome and let's get to know more. Hello.
Hi. Hello.
How are you doing?
Good.
How many days have you been in Estonia already?
First day.
Okay.
I arrived late yesterday, so it's like...
Okay, and is it your first time in the Black Nights Film Festival also, or have you participated before?
I've been 2 years ago, I think. I've been once when I was a student. I think it was part of Black Night Sleepwalkers. I've been with a student film, but it's like 10 years ago.
So then you know the system. You are an old professional, and we are very happy to have you back.
Thank you. It's a short flight.
Okay, but let's get to know more about your film, Drowning Dry. So maybe at first you could, in your own words, just to summarize, what is the story about?
It's like a simple story. It's two families. We're connected because the women are sisters and they have two husbands and two kids, and they spend like a weekend near a lake, and there's something happens there, and it becomes like a story that this kind of weekend touches the rest of their lives. It's like ripples affects what happens afterwards. So you kind of see there it begins as one weekend and then it expands to something bigger. Okay.
So not telling us too much, so not to reveal anything.
It's like a heavy... It's dangerous to spoil this film. Like there's a lot of things that are connected to how you see the film when you know what happens and how you react to it, and then you come back. So this is like very dangerous to spoil it. But
Okay, but I don't know. I think it's safe to say that all kind of film projects, art projects, they have some kind of input or something that inspires the artist. So for you, was there, I don't know, a personal experience or event behind the story, or why did you choose this story? How did it make it to the screen?
It started like it was something that something similar happened to myself, but in the end it's connected to kind of the circumstances that were at the time. Like my family situation was changing, the world was very like, there was a lot of like this simmering tension, and still is, like there's a lot of things that just kind of there's a lot of outside this tension that you have. There's no like wherever you look there's some simmering danger or problem, and of course we have like the obvious a political situation that's very bad and still is. So and at the time that I was writing the film, we were just coming out of COVID, so it was very much a lot of like, and this was connected to the whole tension in the film that is in the characters. Like it seems like it should be like a very simple weekend, but you still feel that something is bad, and somehow I felt that in these normal situations all the time, and still we have this, like we normalized some stuff we kind of got used to, but it's still not okay, we still struggle. So so this was kind of influenced by this feeling of uneasiness, like of this anxiety, and then I translated it to family setting, and this one event that happens, like it's so I kind of wanted to analyze this condition of being like outside seeming normal, but inside kind of boiling and having this inner conflict.
So you definitely have like psychological side in the movie. Psychological, I don't know, not troubles, but like
it's based on our inner lives, like and how I imagine like I feel and how others feel, and I try to kind of make a structure of it and think about what is a memory, like what is like an event that factually is like nothing, but emotionally it becomes an event. You know, like these events that in the end lead nothing, seemingly nothing changes, but inside it changes a lot of things. You see people differently, like you see someone reacting to like this extreme situation, and and then you change how you look at him. So it's like,
okay, but how long was the process altogether for you, the whole process of
I think it was 2 years, because I started writing immediately when I was doing the last film. Like I was presenting it, and like it was like a coping mechanism, because I presented my first film. It was kind of stressful and there was a lot of stuff happening, so I kind of started writing this film as a way to move forward, not to think about other things. And in the end it went quite quickly. Like we wrote it, got financing, and
Okay.
Just 2 years, which is like quite fast.
Yeah, it's quite fast. I mean, we have some guests who have, I don't know, 9 years, 7 years, even more. I don't know, half of their lives. But 2 years also is not a short time period. So during this time, what was the biggest challenge while making Drowning Dry?
Like the film was it has like a bit of it's not an experimental film, it's like a narrative feature, but it has some structural elements that are not very common. So kind of it was a challenge, kind of convincing people that it will going to work, you know, like trying to explain the concept, how it is structured, like how it is edited and put in together. So it was kind of, communicating what my idea was kind of difficult, because it wasn't kind of, people were not used to this kind of structure, so it was difficult for that, explaining what I wanted to do. And also it was a bit difficult because it is connected to personal stuff, so you know, you still imagine something similar happening to you, or even when I was presenting this film, pitching and trying to get financing, I always get people telling me some different variation of this story, you know, some different kind of event. So it was kind of, but similar, you know, similar kind of, but different. Which happened in their life or to someone they know. So it was also getting, and they're quite heavy emotionally, so getting this input and thinking about this kind of events. So it was, but I don't know, this film was kind of quite a smooth process. We had some troubles, but we kind of managed not to have big holes or some gaps that we were not working.
Yeah, I mean, it's only good to hear if everything was fluent.
Sometimes it is, yeah.
Okay, but you were the director of the movie, screenwriter, and also cinematographer. So, man like an orchestra, why did you decide to do all these things yourself, or how did you balance your work? Were there at some points troubles with it, or was it the other way around, easier because you only had to listen to yourself when talking about these fields you covered?
Yeah, that's strange because I didn't feel alone, because it's different stages. Like in writing, I kind of wrote my short films and everything, so I kind of used to writing, so it was quite natural. And then when we started shooting and pre-production and developing, so I have a really close partner, a producer, Klementina Remikaitė. She produces, and she produced all my films, so we're together with her. For the creative part, the art director was very close collaborator, and because I studied as a cinematographer and I started as a DOP, so it wasn't quite that difficult for me to do both things technically. So, and I had a really good cast. We had a team, and there were a lot of them. Actually, I had, for the first film we had a DOP, but it felt there were less people than on this film. There were 4 adult actors always and 2 kids, so I was always communicating, so I didn't feel alone. And we had a lot of input from them, improvising and changing scenes. We had a lot of changes on set. But first it was kind of stupid because I kept running around the set, because I started like you shoot as a camera operator, then you run to monitor to watch the playback, then you run to the gaffer, then to the actors, then again to... It was kind of... First days were a bit hectic and quite silly, but then in the end we kind of... We slowed everything down. We didn't... Like, people didn't... the crew kind of got what I was doing, so I didn't had to like double check or repeat, and we had really like I had a really good gaffer and on-set crew, art crew, so we had like this good collaboration, and then it went smoothly. So first couple of days were quite
yeah, I mean in some ways it's like even maybe easier. I mean, as I said, you don't have to like share your vision with others, because I mean, this distance from your head to my head is the distance where things are gonna get lost. Like some details are gonna, I don't know, get lost, or we're gonna have, I don't know, we're gonna think of it differently. So in a way, I think it's easier if you are the one responsible for.
I wanted to have this perspective, like from the camera and the angling and the, like the position of the camera. I wanted to have it this kind of intuitive sense, like the shots not being too obvious, like because the film is connected to memory and is connected to something that happened to you. So it's like kind of remembered present. So I always wanted to put the camera not where you would feel that you're present, but a bit, you know, and it's not always very simple to explain this. And I realized that if I will have a DOP, so I will have to explain and we will discuss for a long time. And sometimes I wanted just to feel where I want to put it and just put it and go on working. I can have this kind of more intuitive, more feeling way of like composing and staging. So that's the thing you say. Like I realized that this gap would be kind of counterproductive. Like it would be easier for me just to put there. It would have this sense of a different perspective, you know.
Okay, but when talking about the characters you have in the movie, as you mentioned, like main characters are two sisters and their husbands. So as you as a screenwriter also kind of like invented them. So I don't know if you can say it, or if you can like say which of the characters are, I don't know, in children language good or which are bad, but can you say which character you connect with the most from the film?
The film is structured about the older sister. Like the older sister is like an emotional core of the film. Like she's the thing that her inner like reality changes the structure of a film. So I knew that from the beginning. But the whole four characters are based on my understanding, like four different kind of ways to react to the world, and like events that like these major events in your life. Like there's one character that is like he's very action based and based on just being there. He's very present, but in the end he's very close to what he doesn't understand what everybody else feels about him or about themselves. So he's kind of very into doing it now and reacting, but no reflection at all. And the other male character is just, you know, he's very present. He is kind of conscious of what everybody's thinking and very like kind of understanding the world. But in the end, he chokes in these moments. You know, he's thinking too much maybe or something like this. And the same with the sisters. Like one sister is already like kind of nothing happened, but she's already lost somehow. Like she's already reflecting on how everything doesn't work, you know. And the other sister is like, you see her as like physically or somehow the weakest one, but in the end she's the most resilient. Like she's the only one who kind of keeps going, like not falling into these traps or these kind of dark places. She's kind of moving and she's always reacting like the way not like a healthy way, but somehow in the end her reactions help her to stay moving, to not like kind of not lose this kind of battle with reality, like not to kind of surrender to these life events that in the end are quite we could seem very like extreme, but in the end there's always moments like these in life. Some people have more of them, some less, but we have to confront them, even the most natural ones, like all of our parents will die some way, and people react differently to it. So I wanted to make this like a matrix, like a square with them dealing with the same events differently, and then you see different combinations and then reacting to them, and then it kind of makes a discussion of the film, like a process of thinking about how it is, like how do we live through these kinds of things.
Okay, and just to wrap it all up, what would be the main message of your film? What would you want your audience to think about, or what is your message to the world?
Like I always like with making a film, like my dream is like to make something to give to the audience, like for the viewer in the moment of the cinema, in this dark room, like feel following the story, watching the film, like hearing the film, something that you feel and you cannot transfer back to words, like some unique moment that stays with you, connects with something very random, maybe some things you thought, and just gives you this profound moment of this gap, where sometimes you have this gap where you just stop and think, and something opens up just for a moment, and then you feel, you remember it, and there's very hard to bring back to words, to say that I felt like this or I felt like that. I wanted to just like, it's my aim just to try to find these moments where you can just lose yourself in the cinema space, stories, and this kind of moments, and then there's no need, to explain what happened. Like you can, and different people relate it to different things, like because there are kind of these kind of gaps in your like emotional life, and that's I think this is like what cinema is very good at, because you can rationalize a lot of things, but then it doesn't. But then I think it would be somehow counterproductive, like when you lose something when you try to say it. But in film, and this is what I feel. But that stayed with films that I really like these moments. It's hard for me to explain, and always when I try to explain, it sounds stupid, but I felt it and I have it in my, conscious and my memory. So.
Okay, so thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. I hope that the creative ideas will still come to you, and we will hear more from you. Maybe, I don't know, as you are a pretty fast filmmaker in 2 years. I think maybe. We can. Okay, maybe 3. We can give you 3. So let's see you in 3 years. Okay. Thank you for coming in today.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And for you, dear viewers, I hope you like this interview. So we will be very happy if we will see you back here in PÖFF TV exactly next time when we have new directors in the studio. So thank you for watching us.